Welcome to Shades of Havana. I'm your host, David Zimmel. We're here at Hollywood Golf Club in Deal, New Jersey. I'm proud to announce that Hollywood was recently ranked 59th top classic courses in the country. We just completed one hole with my friends here, and unfortunately we're in a rain delay. So I just want to know what you guys think of the course so far.
I mean, you could have said 59th with more excitement. I mean, like we've ramped up.
We are very excited.
All right,
about
good. We need some excitement.
What did you guys think of the course so far?
It's tremendous.
Beautiful.
Tremendous course.
The fairways look like greens. It's fabulous.
Well, I've been here, I'm proud to say I've been here 36 years. It's certainly gone very quickly. And, especially during these times with a pandemic, the one thing I've had to fall back on is the course has been open. We've been able to play. Our rounds are up, unbelievably. Just as an example, on a Tuesday, we would normally have like 45 rounds. Last Tuesday, we had 200 rounds. It's amazing. Everyone that plays golf is using their time, their spare time anyway, to play golf. So I'm excited to be here. Let's start off by, I would like everyone to introduce themselves. First of all, as I said, my name's David Zimmel. I am smoking a Padron Maduro 64, which is one of my favorite cigars. I'd like you guys, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself and let me know what you're smoking.
John Thain. I'm also smoking the Padron, but I didn't have the Maduro. They're a little too strong for me. So I have the 1964 anniversary Padron.
It's like an hour for the show. I gotta transfer intros off my phone and hypnosis.
I'm actually glad we got rained out. I'm looking forward to smoking this.
Yeah, my name's John Schultz. I'm happy to be here. This is very cool, especially at a golf club, right? Shooting a great show. I'm a Monte Cristo.
Dive with me. I enjoy the depths. I never put you on the side, Cortez.
I like a lighter cigar, so that's what I go with.
I've seen John drop to his knees with a darker cigar, so we don't want that to happen.
Especially on the course, right?
Not to call anybody out. My name's Ryan Curran. I'm smoking an Ashton. This is a estate sun-grown. And I have mine paired with some Seagrams over here. Back in my day, I was one of these guys' best customers, but I'm gonna sit this one out today.
Do you guys normally smoke different cigars when you're playing as opposed to casual, or do you have your go-to cigars that you prefer to smoke and, whether it's casual or on the course, doesn't matter?
I have a go-to that I go to all the time, which is a Cinco Vegas. They're very mild, but I just feel like it goes with anything, You get a little buzz, but not too much.
I love the Montes. I mean, why change it if it works, So keep going.
And I've always been a big fan of Ashton and actually Opus X as well, but I actually rate my cigars as to how many holes they're good for.
It's interesting you say that, because sitting in, around now, just having a nice smoke. I like this size cigar. However, when I play golf, I normally smoke the Tatawahi Grand Kahuna, which lasts for 9 holes. It's a 9-hole cigar. So I always bring 2 of them with me, and I know that I'm set for the 18 holes. And if I'm having a bad day, sometimes I start the second one before the end of the 9 holes, and I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope you read your putts that way, right? I mean, that would be a good thing.
So since we're at a golf course, I'm sure you guys. I watched the PGA this past weekend. It was played at Harding Park in San Francisco. Unlike Hollywood, it's a public venue, which I think is really cool. What did you guys think? Great tournament. What'd you think of the course? What'd you think of the finish?
Geez, any tournament where you had, I believe, 6 players tied going into 15 is just unbelievable. And what Colin did on 16 certainly put the lights out for a lot of guys on Sunday. What a tournament!
Who did you guys think were going to win before the tournament? Before the day started. Did anybody have anybody in mind?
I thought Koepka was going to come through. To be honest with you, he was behaving a little confidently, which when he does that, you never know with him sometimes.
Yeah, I was surprised that he slipped a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, I was hoping for Paul Casey. I mean, he's such a gentleman. He's got Popeye forearms, right?
He's a great sleeper.
He's got, the great thing about this tournament, I mean, the rough, nobody's walking on it, right? So you have 1.5 inches and 3.5 inches. I mean, and the fairways are not as generous as what we're used to. I mean, you really have to be accurate.
Actually, that's an interesting point because they made that point during the round that normally the rough is a little more difficult to handle because of the crowds and the fact that there were no crowds.
There's no matting.
There's no matting. Right. So, when the ball landed in the rough, there were some very difficult lies. But it looked to me like it was a pretty cool layout. I like the fact that there was a par 4, at 16 that was reachable, which could really change the match around, and it did change the match around. He makes eagle,
it was terrific,
which changed everything around. And then he chipped in, I think 1 or 2 holes before that. So that was pretty exciting. What do you guys think about watching on TV with no fans? How do you think that? What do you think the effect has been? Because I watch golf every weekend. I love to watch golf. What do you think, how do you find it without fans?
I sometimes wonder how some of the guys that kind of thrive off that energy, how it affects them psychologically. I think Koepka's probably one of them. He probably loves to get, pumped up, and Rory, and there's a couple guys out there that really thrive off that. I sometimes wonder if they miss that a lot, but I'm sure there's a peacefulness to it too for them.
Like during this pandemic, right, we learned how much we actually took for granted.
Oh, yeah.
So, I love watching golf, so I enjoy it, but there's nothing like the fans, especially Saturday and Sunday when it's actually coming down to the wire. And the adrenaline they get, we feel it too. I mean, that's what's so great about sports, and I miss it. I mean, I can't wait till it's back, and to me, it's a big part of what we love.
John, imagine the cheer that would have gone up on 16 that every other golfer in the field would have heard. That's what you miss. I mean, when Tiger was in his heyday, the roar of the crowd. How does that affect the golfer that's 1 or 2
I think
holes
that's
behind?
been a big effect.
I mean,
because,
but the week before, Morikawa against Thomas at Muirfield Village on the 18th, like sparring it out.
Right.
Like both hitting, over 20-foot putts. The crowd, it would have been like another moment that you would get chills.
But I do think golf is one of the few sports that can be played competitively. And, like to me, when I've seen, I don't know if anybody's seen the NBA or the NHL, I've been quite surprised actually. It's been pretty good. They've covered the bleachers with, baseball, they have some fan cutouts in the background. But to me, golf is, out of all the sports, probably the easiest to watch as it relates to competitiveness in the COVID times. I mean, what other sport is it that you think is,
Well, listen, baseball, you get energy blips, right? If there's a home run, I mean, it's not a constant feel of the fans cheering and but they're there. Football, it's the same thing, right? It's not constant. It's intermittent. Basketball's more of a flow, and golf's sort of intermittent too. But you just miss the energy of it, right?
What do you think? I think the 2 sports left that, not just sports, but we got the NCAA, and you've got the NFL. So the NCAA, I heard today in football, there's been a couple conferences that have decided not to play. What do you think should happen? I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
the kids sound like they want to go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, hey, if you're playing for your next career, or you're
shame.
Coming in as a scholarship player, I mean, you want to get your career started. What does this mean if the season's canceled? Do these scholarships get extended? Are juniors and seniors going to play an extra year? How does that affect incoming freshmen?
You dream about this stuff since you're 4 years old, right? And you finally get there, and there's a wet blanket.
In some of
waiting
these
for you.
schools, I heard today actually that the amount of money that they derive from the sports, now without sports, a lot of these schools are going to be dramatically affected, and I don't know how they're going to, be able to get through it.
How they're going to fund other athletics. And
Right.
a lot of the smaller programs, whether it was cross country or some of the women's sports and so forth, were funded by the monies that came from the football programs. Is this going to get these programs cut going forward?
What do you think about the NFL? I mean, do you think it's possible that we're going to see NFL games this year?
I think the professional sports are going to try more than maybe the college sports. I think, that's a work relationship. College is an educational relationship, even though there's so much money on the line. And it's harder to, take someone's kid and put them in a situation rather than a business relationship where the players and the coaches and the owners all know it's a different situation.
Well, it's funny because
I find it's harder. It's a harder decision.
Well, one of the college coaches today said that if he allowed his team to play and one kid
it's
got
it's
sick
a whole
and
different
God forbid
relationship.
died, he would never be able to forgive
Right.
himself.
Cheers to that.
So so it's a
Cheers to
difficult
that.
situation.
Which, by the way, I don't want to change the subject, but I'm enjoying this Woodford Reserve here, and I don't know what you guys enjoy with your cigars, but I've become a bourbon guy lately, and this Woodford Reserve is just spectacular.
What's your favorite?
I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. This got me there though. This Jameson, that was on my short list. My jersey went into the rafters in 08.
I mean, the bottle's
stayed up
gorgeous.
there.
That's a
Obviously,
great
it's
looking
terrific,
bottle.
yeah.
So let me ask you guys another question. So now that talking about the COVID times, John and I think the three of us are in real estate.
Yep.
What's the effect been of COVID on your real estate business? You own a lot of buildings. What's the?
I mean, it depends on the asset class, right? Like obviously retail, hotels, anything that you were waiting for a customer to come in and arrive for entertainment, socially, restaurants, it's having an issue. I mean, we turned the spigot off completely, right? Office, you can maintain some type of, I would say, moving forward progress because from the cloud, from mobility, everything we've been trying to get to over the last several years with technology has enabled us even more than we thought to actually maintain. Now, as far as growing your business, the jury's out. Sales execution, meeting people. I still think business is human and people do business with people they like, even though we say business is business. To me, business is personal. It's always been for me. And I think the jury's going to be out. But what I'm happy about is that it's allowing us to maintain at least through this part.
What's been your throughout your portfolio, which I know is somewhat diverse, but what would you say your collection percentage-wise? How many tenants are not paying rent or trying not to pay?
I mean, everyone's trying. Listen, we're all in this together. I mean, we want to help everyone we can get through whatever their issue is. As long as we're transparent with each other, like nobody, you don't want anybody to get over on a chaotic moment, right? So as long as we're honest and everybody's trying to work together, because it's like dominoes, right? Like, okay, so I own a building, but I have a mortgage on a building. I have a lender I have to deal with, right? The tenant has to deal with me. We got to be a team in this. So far, so good. All the government assistance from the PPP loans to the other programs they're putting out are really giving people different opportunities to look at their business and decide, like, how do I access what I need to get through this? And this was no one's fault. It's not like 2008 where it was more financial crisis. This is an everyone crisis.
What are you finding?
My business is thriving more than ever.
Now you're doing more. Do you do more resi?
I have a residential boutique, which that market on the shore is outrageous. There's people fleeing the city, interest rates. I just saw someone lock in at 2.75 on a 30-year.
It's unbelievable.
You want to talk about stealing money? And then I also do a lot of commercial e-commerce, big box industrial stuff. And what a freaking time. I mean, Amazon just proved not only can they weather the storm, they pretty much are the storm. I think they just locked up 40-something leases in the last couple months is what I heard on the street at least. And then I also have a title insurance agency, and with the refinances, and we positioned ourselves great. I'm a startup, so we kind of had the opportunity to plug into all this tech and be remote. So there was literally no change I need to make. We were turnkey. My top talent all works at home anyway. So we didn't have to do anything different. And it was actually a great opportunity for us because I'm in human capital acquisition right now. So some of these bigger firms had to get rid of some talent. And I was able to scoop a couple really solid salespeople up because we didn't have to adjust. So I was able to scoop, I kind of took the reverse pivot there and capitalized on this opportunity. So, my businesses are off the charts right now. I love it.
What about you?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been unbelievably fortunate.
You're retired, and no.
Well,
Are you hiring?
as a matter of fact, but I own a number of triple net properties that I rent to major retailers, And fortunately, the retailers that I'm involved with, their businesses picked up in the pandemic.
Who's that?
I have Dollar General and Family Dollar, or they're opening new stores. They've become the go-to store in a lot of inner city and rural communities. I have one in the Pittsburgh market. Their business, just corporately, their business is up over 10%. So they've been a savior when people were having challenges to find different things in smaller communities, inner city communities. And then I rent to and I actually own some of the franchises with Rita's Italian Ice.
Huh.
So it's a walk-up environment. As soon as we were permitted to open up safely for our staff and the customers, our business has been through the roof. No schools, limited sports, no movie theaters. We're like the go-to entertainment.
Is everyone wearing face masks when they come see you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And fortunately, we haven't had any of the, the people that want to challenge the system. I mean, everybody's very respectful of, and most of our staff is younger people, high school, young college students. So we haven't had a single problem.
So have any of you guys had, I recently had a situation where one of my sons had a wedding planned for July 25th. And because of the pandemic, we decided to have the wedding in the backyard. We had just immediate family. We had 25 people. We had, face masks to give out to everybody. And you know what? It went pretty well. Have you guys had any experience during this time where you had family gatherings and things had to be adjusted or?
Everything's adjusted.
Everything.
Like there's not one thing that I do that's not adjusted. I mean, even how we play golf together, right? I mean, we have this material in between us on a cart, so in case you sneeze, which I think is a good thing to do.
Right.
So like, there's nothing the same right now. So I think it's like it's weird, right? It's nothing.
It's bizarre.
One of the craziest things, we went to a funeral. For a long time, I mean, I felt horrible for families that were grieving and didn't have a chance to really grieve with friends and relatives and so forth. We actually went to a funeral that was a drive-through funeral. Nobody was allowed in the church.
Wow.
Everybody gathered in the parking lot, and as the hearse and the families went by in their cars, they had a chance to greet everybody who lined the parking lot.
That's a pretty
good
good
sounds
idea.
bizarre, but guess what? I guess we all figure out ways
But
to adapt.
it just shows the human spirit. That's what I love about it. Like we went to drive-through graduations. Like we didn't stop trying to be the human, being on this planet, right? So, and otherwise you'll isolate and it's not good.
Yeah,
So I think
it's funny because early on in the pandemic, I would say back in May when we were really more in the, where people were really staying at home, where one of my grandkids had his birthday. And all of the teachers and all of the people in the neighborhood, we stood on the front lawn and they all drove by and they were beeping their horn and he had the biggest smile on his face. And under the circumstances, it was the best way he could celebrate. And I think it had a very positive effect, on him and it worked out. So.
Plus there's things like there's a lot of silver linings. There's things I've done with my daughters that I never would have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're learning how to fight and make up better, right? Because we're around each other more.
You fight? I don't fight.
So it's not like everything's smooth, because that's not going to be. But we're learning how to do things in a different way. You got to be more creative, right? Like what do you want to do for fun? So we actually went to a comedian at the racetrack that Count Basie's having these events, right? So we went to a comedian. That was the one we went to. In our car, all four of us, and you can't hear laughter. Imagine going to see a comedian and hearing no one laugh.
So no one in your car laughed?
We did, but like you didn't. Well, you start getting freaked out, right? Like people are like doing the lights for that they're laughing. So, but like it was an experience. We did it. Never do it again. I would never do it again. But it was nice being with the family and trying something and supporting the community.
But that would be a good way to see a movie.
Yeah. Well, Bellworks is doing. We're actually going this week. They're having drive-in theater in the parking lot. So there's so much innovative, great ideas.
Where'd they get a screen? They got
a gigantic screen.
Wow.
We're gonna go, and it's something you could do. So it's great.
I have a son on the way, and they're not like the visits are limited to one parent. So. A couple things were mentioned, like you don't really realize what you have until it's gone and you really appreciate it. But on the other side, we're blessed enough where we have technology and stuff where you know, we can connect on WhatsApp through the FaceTime, you know, so I'm at least able to, you know, participate and see, you know, what all the doctors and everything are saying. I'm not totally on the sideline, you know?
It's so funny. I forget, I was playing 2 days ago here, and someone was becoming a grandfather for the second time. Normally, he'd be running to the hospital. Instead, he's like, he's playing the 8th hole, right? Because you can't go. But, you know,
There's got to be a joke here somewhere.
well, you just, you know, there's things that you.
The joke is going to be them trying to keep me out of the hospital during the delivery.
Exactly.
All right, we'll be right back after this break.
In 1993, John Gwaltney dubbed himself Senior Juan and founded Senior Juan Cigars. John prided himself on offering up equal helpings of quick wit, hot coffee, and fine premium cigars in no particular order. His zeal for storytelling and creating a great atmosphere to enjoy a cigar drew in fans and customers. Today, we are proud to build upon the foundations of what John created in order to make your cigar smoking experience even better. The best selection of premium cigar brands, the finest accessories, and Senior Juan's famous hand-rolled cigars, all while making sure we never lose sight of keeping the shop a friendly, relaxing spot to enjoy a smoke. Is your business in need of COVID PPE products? eClean has FDA-approved products and service both public and private sectors nationwide with products such as KN95 masks, nitro gloves, hand sanitizers, and disinfectant. eClean understands the importance of keeping you healthy and safe. For more information, please call eClean at 305-969-8754. That's 305-969-8754. In this new day and age of online meetings and presentations, you need the best team at the ready. Whether broadcasting your Zoom meetings to Facebook Live or live streaming a fundraiser event, Surreal Streaming Services, with over 10 years of experience, can add confidence to your next live stream event. Call or text 646-498-8888 or visit sur-real.com. Worldwide Distributors E-Lighting has over 30 years of experience converting residential and commercial properties into LED lighting nationwide. If you are interested in a free survey, want to learn about rebates that might be available in your area, call E-Lighting at 305-969-8754. You can start saving today. That's 305-969-8754.
Welcome back to Hollywood Golf Club. We recently were ranked 59th top classic courses in the country. We're very proud about that. Sitting here with my friends, enjoying our cigars. As I mentioned earlier, I'm having a Padron Maduro 64, which I have to tell you is quite tasty. How are you guys enjoying your cigars?
Well, I got the Padron 64, but you've got the Maduro.
I have a little more stamina.
Well, you know, I had to go with the lighter version. You know, I guess I'm not as big a man.
You know, I'm loving my Monty. We're social distance cigar smoking at one of my favorite places
outside
in the world, Hollywood.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
like,
is terrific.
there's nothing better than this.
And what are you smoking?
I have an Ashton. This is like, I could wake up and smoke one of these.
digging it?
Yeah,
You
it's
digging it?
great.
John, you're okay though? You're not going to pass out? 'Cause
Nice and mild.
I've seen you on the golf course.
This might be
Where I
my
was
entree
concerned.
for
I'm all
tonight.
good.
So, going along with the COVID discussion, which obviously is the main topic in the world today, what do you think the challenges and opportunities are for kids today? I know that my grandkids are set to start school in 3 weeks, and my daughter-in-law told me the other night that they're going to go back to school half days, and that if they have one COVID case in the school, school gets closed down. What do you think? What do you think should happen with school and kids today? I mean, I know, like for instance, John, you have older kids, but what's your call?
It's the most difficult decision any president of a university or a school system has to make. I mean, you have to know you can have enough testing, how to do it. There's so much, just like with office buildings and everything else that we're doing today, even here, right? Wearing masks on the set, taking them off when we're being videoed and filmed here. There's so many decisions that need to be made, and safety matters. I mean, they're not your kids. You're taking on responsibility that normally is the most important responsibility you could possibly think about. So I think it's hard. I think it's one big challenge, and hopefully the opportunity is, them learning how to live with uncertainty and sort of get through it, right? Like, they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Hopefully, mostly everyone will get through this learning some different lessons that they didn't know they had in them, or something that makes them grow as a person because they're missing out on other ways to do that, right? By being at school.
Well, my children are older. My children are 22 and 35, so it's not it's not a game I'm directly involved in. But one of the things that was most important to my children and to me as well when I was in school was the socialization.
Yep.
I mean, everything you learn, you don't learn out of a book.
Right.
So true.
Just the people that you meet, the experiences that you have, these are all part of the learning process. And I really hate if the kids lost that opportunity long term. And I think it's worth the risk to see if we can get them back into an environment.
You're right. College is 4 years. You miss a year. It's a year. I mean, you don't get it back, right? But
Well, and so I think between the four of us, none of us have kids that are in elementary school. If you did have a child elementary age, how would you feel about sending him to school?
Well, my daughter, we've been looking for some type of daycare, like a Mommy and Me or something. She's going to be 2 years old soon, and the socialization, right? Like that's anytime it's really important to start socializing. It's kind of then to play nice with others, but I do think on the flip side of that is, and I don't think that's just my family experiencing this, is it's really bringing the nucleus of the family home, right? It's like everyone was kind of forced, like, hey guys, you need to get to know one another again. It's not like, here, take my kids, see you later, So there's like a little aspect of like, the families are getting a little tighter, which that's probably really good at times. And then like Jonathan said, we're all learning how to argue a little bit better too. At the
I'm
same
even
time.
learning, like I'm being dragged into TikToks. Like everything that, you're around your kids so much, you're doing more things that they do. So it's good. But as far as schools, it's just a tough decision. I mean,
it is a tough decision.
It's tough.
It's and I think it's like very difficult because it's not just about, as you guys mentioned, it's not just the learning aspect, but it's the socialization. That these kids, if they're just home in the house and they're not, playing with other kids, interacting with other kids.
Parents are becoming teachers.
Right, that's the other problem too.
That was never a job that you thought you had to do.
Exactly.
You have in today's society.
Yeah, that's a lot to
many
deal with.
households have both parents
Plus,
working.
you have to work.
Right.
Very hard.
And then they say, well, people can work from home. How do you work from home when you have 2, 3-year-old kids screaming?
It's hard.
It's a difficult
It's a challenge.
situation.
Yeah.
It really is. So we shot the first Shades podcast inside at a cigar club. Now we have this one outside at Hollywood. Certainly we can't do something inside now.
That was a great adaptation.
I think I like this setup though. It's nice.
This is a great show for the road.
This is awesome.
You could take this many places.
Any place,
right?
right?
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
If you're assuming we can travel, the road can't be too far.
So talking about flying, does anybody have any desire, or does anyone? When's the next flight going to be?
This one hits home for me, David. I used to travel constantly, all around the world, Europe, a lot in Asia, did a lot of business in Asia. But my wife was a flight attendant with United for about 40 years, and her route was to Beijing, Newark to Beijing. So she hasn't flown since early February and probably will not fly at least for the rest of the year. Now, I was used to having 12 days with my wife away every month. We're learning things about each other that we didn't even think about.
There you go.
It's working. The good news is it's working. For a while, I was thinking I was going to have to get a job and go 12 days somewhere, but it's working out fine. But no, she won't get on an airplane anytime soon, and she's actually contemplating retirement.
Wow.
Yeah. My wife's family is from Astrakhan, Russia. So if this continues, I don't know when I'm going to be able to bring over the new grandson to see them. And it's a big deal for them, too, because my wife's, her sister has daughters, and I have a daughter. So Grandpa over there cannot wait for the little man to come. So, I don't know. Do you get on a plane now? I don't know. I guess we'll have to make that tough decision when the time comes. But, you know, if it was today, not while there's a bun in the oven, you know?
Well, John and I actually have a trip planned in November. We've agreed at the moment to go, but it's going to be a very,
Play it by
very,
ear. I think it's
a very
play
last
by ear.
minute
Yeah.
decision.
And it's nice that it's the summer. You don't have to really.
Right.
I mean, where we live, we're fortunate, right? We're grateful to be down here.
And one of the things is, for me, I really miss the cigar lounge. I mean, I probably went at least twice a week. I love the camaraderie of the guys. I love hanging out like this, where we would hang out, have a cigar, everyone would talk about the different things going on in the world. I'm really happy we were able to improvise with the setup at Hollywood today. And our hope is that we can take Shades on the road and, you know, visit different venues and be able to, you know, sit around, you know, with good friends and talk and see what the other places look like.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, well, you know what I love about a cigar is a pleasure. It takes you a half hour, 40 minutes, and you get a chance to have a serious conversation with somebody. Even if you're just goofing around, you're with them for a half hour, 40 minutes, and it's a
Yeah.
nice break in the day.
I said last time that for me, I can have a really tough day, stop at the cigar lounge at 5 o'clock, hang out, have a cigar, talk to my friends. Seriously, it was like it's like going to the psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's a reset
I'm driving
button.
home and I'm reset and I'm relaxed.
Well, because the world's so fast, everything's like, you know, so fast now. It allows you to sit down and relax for a bit without feeling you have to do the next thing. So it's great. It's a great thing to do.
All right, so anyway, I want to thank you guys very much for joining me at Hollywood Golf Club. I think we had a great time. We enjoyed some cigars, some
Terrific.
drink.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having
And
us.
I look forward to another episode real soon.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very
It's
much.
great. Thanks
Thanks for having us.